عمر ممكن نظبطها هي؟ معلش ظبطها هلا هن بيجوا. Could we move here? جزاكم الله خير. Move it إن شاء الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا هذا اجتماعا مرحوما واجعل تفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما. اللهم لا تجعل فينا ولا بيننا ولا منا شقيا ولا محروما برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Ibn Taymiyyah had a very nice statement. He said, إن في هذه الدنيا جنة إن لم تدخلها لن تدخل جنة الآخرة. That verily in this dunya there is a paradise. If you don't get in that paradise, you will never be able to get to the paradise of the Akhirah. What was the paradise in this dunya? It's the joy, how much you will have joy, or how much you will be joyful during your prayer. So if you are not able to get this, if you are not able to feel like you are in Jannah during your prayer, then be careful, because that actually could measure what it means, your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the purpose of tonight's halqa is to go through some reminders about the prayer that hopefully, inshallah, can change the way we perceive salah, the way that we look at salah, the way that we conduct our salah. Salah is something that we just cannot escape from. Like no one has excuse to even skip one prayer. And if you have to, like say for example, you were asleep or you got into a coma, you must make it up, right? Yes, for the sister there are just a few excuses, like being in the period or after delivering a birth. But those are very few limited excuses. Otherwise, salah, you just cannot skip from it. So it's either of two, either that you perfected and it becomes the source of enjoyment and happiness in this life and in the hereafter, or it will become a torture, just like how many Muslims, unfortunately, when they describe salah, as if it appears to them as if it was a torture. Okay, so let's start inshallah. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, أول ما يحاسب به العبد يوم القيامة صلاته فإن صلحت صلح سائر عمله وإن فسدت فسد سائر عمله. That the very first thing that a person will be brought accountable for is their prayer. If their prayers looks good, then the remaining deeds will be looked at. Otherwise, they will be just losing. Their other good deeds may not be even counted. They may not have any value. Well, astaghfirullah, let me make it more precise. The other good deeds compared to the good deed that could have been achieved because of the prayers are nothing. It's just like, subhanallah, a person who carries a 1 kilogram of gold and another person carrying 1 penny. The one who has 1 penny has 1 penny, like it's something, right? But compared to that 1 kilogram of gold, it's nothing, right? That's what I'm trying to say, that perhaps there are people who may come with some good, nice smile on their face. Maybe they have been helping some needy people. Maybe they have got some good achievement for humans in this life. I mean, there could be various different nice things that a person would do. But if the prayer is not coming well, then those are negligible compared to the prayer. Okay. So let's talk about prayer now from an aspect as on like how could perfecting my prayer perfect my life, right? So the very first thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said about salah, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَتْ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا. That verily the prayer has been prescribed at certain times, that you must do the prayers at those right times, right? And mawquta means that it is timed. Like you just cannot miss it. You cannot postpone it even for a single minute. Like just imagine that a person knows that the sunrise is, for example, at 6 a.m. and he decides to pray Salat al-Fajr at 6:01. Would his prayer be accepted? No, it will not. Even postponing for just that 1 minute. I guess this is something that unfortunately many Muslims realize that it is their prayer, and it's like a requirement for their prayer to be accepted, but they only think about the time when it comes to the prayer. Otherwise, if everything else in their life has a very wide margin of delay. Like, for example, I tell you, let's meet at 7 a.m. and then I will only show up at 7:30. Or maybe we have an appointment with the doctor at, say, 8 a.m. and I show up, 10 minutes late. The doctor might be seeing another patient. And that thing, subhanAllah, I mean, for us, we know that salat is very well timed. And and it is like 5 times a day, right? Like we have to do it 5 times a day, and we know that you have to do it on time. And subhanAllah, alhamdulillah, we do it well, but when it comes to other affairs, we're not really following that. I got an invitation on my WhatsApp for actually, someone invited us for lunch. And in that invitation, it says, lunch will be served at 2:30 American time. And I was like, okay, what does American time here? Maybe they meant Eastern time, but no, it's like everyone is Eastern time. Like, why would they say Eastern? But then there was a footprint there that says American time, not the our time, which is unfortunately the Muslim time. And that's really very, very disappointing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the best mechanism to manage our time and really be prompt on how we do our affairs. And unfortunately, we are the ones who show laziness and show, not being punctual at coming on time and leaving on time. I knew that in some countries, it's shameful on a person if they come on time. Did you hear about that? Yeah. No, I'm serious. In some areas, the perception, people think that if you come on time, then you are so naive, then you are so negligent, that you are so, like poor or needy or whatever. They feel, or they have, unfortunately, like that's how they think, and they are Muslims. They think that the only prestigious people can come late. So they like, the later you are, the more late you are, the more prestigious person you are. And unfortunately, it could come with, astaghfirullah, with some type of kibr. You know, kibr is like when someone shows arrogance. Like, I want people to wait for me because I'm so important that, when I come, everyone is there. The sad news is that when everyone becomes late, then no one will wait for anyone else. And it just keeps, subhanAllah, adding up. So this is a very important one. One of the things that we have seen, that for any company to be successful, for any country to be successful and productive, the people have to be very prompt. And if you see, for example, if you go the train station, if you just miss it by 1 minute, it's done, it's gone, khalas. You cannot just get on there. And that's life. If you really postpone things, you will be missing the virtue of being on time and prompt. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it just very tight to our prayer, so only for people to reflect upon it in their own life. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is actually the saying of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم من غير طهور. That or لا يقبل الله صلاة أحدكم من غير أن يتطهر. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never accept a prayer from a person without tahara, without having the wudu or having the ghusl if they need to. And that actually is, that actually, tahara, it means a lot in our religion. One of the things that we perhaps all understand and are aware of is that we have to purify ourselves from any impurity, right? If there is najasa, we have to clean that, right? But that's not only the thing that is required, because just imagine, like when you do wudu, do you remove the najasa? It's not about the najasa. Is it najasa? Actually, you must remove the najasa first before you start your wudu. Wudu goes on your face, goes on your hands, goes on your feet. It never touches the private area, right? Right? So wudu is not meant to remove the najasa. It's meant to purify your body, to make you shiny, to make you more clean. It adds hygiene to it. It actually makes you more healthy. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has added that, has added even another meaning to it, that it is not only a tahara of your body, but it's even tahara of your heart. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has said, أرأيتم لو أن نهرا بباب أحدكم يغتسل منه أحدكم كل يوم 5 مرات أيبقى من درنه شيء؟ قالوا لا يا رسول الله. قال فذلك مثل الصلوات الخمس يمحو الله بهن الخطايا. He sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, would you imagine that a person lives just next door to the river, and every single day that person will get out to the river and have a body wash, like he will wash his body 5 times. Would there be any remaining sin, any remaining like dirt? They said no, Ya Rasulullah. He said, this is the example of how your 5 daily prayer wipes out your sayyi'at. This is how it purifies your heart. And subhanAllah, the tahara that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to have is actually both inside and outside. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ التَّوَّابِينَ وَيُحِبُّ الْمُتَطَهِّرِينَ. Mutatahhirin is those who actually always have tahara on them. Not only that they purify from najasa, but also they have wudu or ghusl, that they are so clean. And tawabin means that they have purified their hearts from anything from any sin that actually may impact their inner side. So that is tawabin inside and mutatahhirin outside. Okay, now next one inshallah is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Surah Al-A'raf, Ya Bani Adam, khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjid. O the children of Adam, beautify yourself, take the best of your zina, the best of your clothing before going to any masjid. And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, إِذَا صَلَّى أَحَدُكُمْ فَلَبِسَ ثَوْبَيْهِ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ أَحَقُّ مَنْ تُزُيِّنَ لَهُ. That if a person wants to get ready to go to the salah and has the thawb or whatever clothes or dressing that they have, then they should understand and realize and remember that if there is anyone that you need to beautify yourself to, it's whom? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you when you go to the masjid with the intention to meet with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this prayer, you need to dress in the best way. I still remember when I was young, at my, actually even younger, like this gentleman there who's Ali. When I was just like Ali, there was I used to live with my dad in a place, in a complex that has a swimming pool. And that was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So of course, swimming pool is all alhamdulillah, they all dress well. At least at my time, I don't know how things are right now, but at my time, there was no mixing. And, men will be dressing, will be covering all the awrah. So we used to wear the swimming suit, which covers actually from, it actually covers the whole awrah. And on top of that, I even wear the shirt, t-shirt, right? But then it shows under my knee. And then I would go to pray in the masjid. And the reason for this is because if I don't do this, then I have to go back to my home, take my clothes, and then it will, waste some time. And I only have limited time that my mother allows me to go and swim. And then my dad was not happy with this until one of the uncles, Jazakallahu khairan, has told me, oh my son, if the principal of your school asked you to come and meet with him for a very, very special occasion, would you go this way? I said, no, of course. He said, okay, then just be aware you are being invited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to come to his house to do this ibadah. So you probably want to address differently. And since then I realized, subhanAllah, how stupid it was for me that I was like, okay, it covers the awrah, so what else? Nowadays, unfortunately, we see people who wear those pants that what do we call them? The pants that go under the hip. What do we call those? Slagging? Okay, that one. And wallahi, just 2 days ago, I was here, and one person who was passing by, alhamdulillah, not from this neighborhood, he came to the masjid. I was sitting like this place, and I was the only one in the masjid. It was between Asr and Maghrib. So I don't know what he was doing. Like he came in and his pant was sagging. Is that how you say it? Okay. And so you can see the underwear. And not only that, he went straight for sujood. And the underwear was not even covering well. So, and I was like, astaghfirullah, what are you doing? But then for some reason, all his prayer was going for sujood one time and getting up, and he actually entered from this door and he left from that door. And I was like, okay, I have never seen this type of prayer before, never in my life. So I went after him. Maybe I can say a few words, but then this brother seems to have some issue, so I just let him go. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and guide him and guide everyone, but just be aware that when you go to the masjid, you are visiting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at his house. And when we say at his house, by the way, my children, unfortunately, for a long time used to understand that the house of Allah means that Allah lives inside that house. And at one day, they were dreaming that one day they will see Allah hiding in one of the places in that masjid. Until I realized that unfortunately, when we say the house of Allah, perhaps to some children this may not be very clear. And when we say the house of Allah, we mean the house that got the honor of Allah's blessing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not some object that we can think about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Lord that we can never even think of. So when we say the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we just mean that it is an honored house. One comment on the side. My first son was Abdullah, and I still remember we used to live in Ottawa, and Abdullah was about maybe 4 years old. And Jazallah khair, his mother used to teach him that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above us. Sadly, she did not realize that every time she talks about this, she tells Abdullah, Allah is above us when he is at his room, like on his bed. So he would look up and he would say, oh, Allah is above us, Allah is above us. So one day, he was at my office, another different room, and I was calling my dad, meaning his grandfather in Saudi Arabia. And I told him, and there was a speaker, I told him, Grandpa, did you know that Abdullah, alhamdulillah, is learning Aqidah and is learning that Allah is above us? So you can ask him. So my dad asked him, where is Allah, Ya Abdullah? So he ran to his room and he was pointing upstairs. He was thinking that it was in his room. So we want to be careful when we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is above us all. There's no way that we can point to him subhanahu wa ta'ala except that we say Allah is above us. And this is just like how Rasulullah has asked one lady, where is Allah? And she said, Allah is above us in the heaven. Okay. Now, the other thing that the other note about Salah is that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said in the authentic hadith, إن الرجل ليصلي 60 سنة إن الرجل ليصلي 60 سنة وما تقبل له صلاة وما تقبل له صلاة لعله يتم الركوع ولا يتم السجود أو يتم السجود ولا يتم الركوع. That a person, a man, may pray 60 consecutive years and not a single prayer is accepted. Can you imagine? Like 60 consecutive years. How many prayers do we have in the day? 5. But that's 5 is only the mandatory prayer. Let's assume that this person only prays the mandatory prayer. How many prayers are there in a year? 5 times 360. What is it? Those who are good in physics? Huh? Huh? 365 times 5 is almost like 1,825. Okay, in 60 years, brother? You're using calculator. Allah yahdik ya Rab. I thought, mashallah, you were so smart. You're using calculator, man? What was the number, Habibi? 109,000. Could you imagine doing 109,000 prayers, not a single prayer being accepted? What did he ﷺ say? He said, ﷺ, perhaps this person may be doing the ruku' well, but not the sujood. Or doing the sujood well, but not the ruku'. That's it. That's it. Rasul ﷺ once saw a person coming to the masjid, making a fast prayer, just like how we do it nowadays. Like that person is so busy, has some business, or has some game to finish, or some movie to watch, or maybe someone is calling them to go to the club or whatever it is. So they get so busy, and when they come to the prayer, it takes them, mashallah, it's Salah Express. You know, those type of things. It's just like FedEx, it's just like UPS, mashallah, overnight thing. There's something over minute. and that is our prayers in today's time. So Rasul ﷺ said to this person, "Irja' fasalli fa innaka lam tusalli." Go back and pray, for that was not a prayer. And he made it again, but he did the same thing, like he was very quick. He ﷺ asked him to go back, "Irja' fasalli fa innaka lam tusalli." Go back and pray, for you have not prayed. And then after he did it several times, he was like, "Ya Rasulullah, wallahi la uhsinu ghayra hada." Oh Rasulullah, I swear by Allah that I just cannot do my prayer in a better way. So he ﷺ taught him that when you stand up for the prayer, you have to stand still and read slowly. And when you go to ruku', you have to go slowly, and you stay in your ruku' until everything's settled. And until you are able to say, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, and then you get up. And in every single act that you do in your prayer, you need to give it enough time that you feel settled and that you feel and understand what you're saying. That was the teaching of him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's why in fiqh, inshallah, we will be going back to fiqh soon, inshallah, to talk about the rulings of prayer. There is one pillar of salah that unless you have it, your salah is invalid. It's called at-tuma'nina. At-tuma'nina means that in every position in your prayer, you must spend enough time that you settle. That all your parts will just stop moving for some time. And that is called the tuma'nina. Okay. So when Rasul ﷺ says that, what does it mean? We have to perfect our prayer. And you know what? I know this is something that I always say. Like how many, let me ask you, I want to put you under the spot. Are you fine? Comfortable? Or shall I pick someone else? I want to ask you, are you able? Are you fine? Okay. How many haraka, how many movements in your prayer, and then your prayer is invalid? How many haraka can you do in your prayer? Huh? Haraka movement. Like for example, I'm standing like this. This is movement. And this one is movement. This one is movement. This one is movement. So how many movements can I do in my prayer before it becomes invalid? Maybe 3, mashallah. That's a good one. Okay, so Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah ta'ala, was the only Imam of all the 4 Imams who have limited to a number. And he said 3. Other ulama have said if the haraka takes the person away from the shape of salah, then the salah will become invalid. Now, the problem here is the definition of shape of salah has changed over time. During the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the shape of salah was that a person would stand still like this to the extent that a bird may think it was a tree, a trunk of a tree, and it will go and sit on the head or in the shoulder to that extent. That was the shape of salah. So if someone does like this, or you know what, I see this a lot. And it's as if, subhanAllah, I want to distribute the weight equally. Like 1 minute on the right leg and then another 1 minute on the left leg. And they just don't know. And subhanAllah, every one of these is like a haraka. And that takes you out of the shape of prayer. The salah becomes invalid. The thing that I almost gave up to find a masjid where everyone really stands still in the prayer. But subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me the opportunity to go to 3 countries where every masjid that I go to, people really stand still. Those 3 countries were Turkey, India, and China. I went to Beijing, I went to Mumbai, and I went to Istanbul and other cities there. And every masjid you go to, people are like this, even little ones. And I only discovered that, subhanAllah, it's because of the impact of Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah ta'ala. Because Imam Abu Hanifa was the one who made it very clear, 3 haraka and your salah is invalid. That's it. Others have limited to or put it or tied it to a definition of, like, if it takes you out of the shape of salah. And then now the shape of salah could be defined differently based on the time and based on the place. And so much so that in some places, wallahi al-azim, the people may walk in their prayer. They may walk like a couple of lines. and they think that this is fine. I saw it by my own eyes, a person walking like 4 lines. Can you imagine? Like from the distance from this brother to myself, like walking all the way. And I was like, is he exercising or what? And he was fine. And he was like, brother, I wanted to close a gap. You can't do this. You just cannot. This nullifies your prayer. So here's the thing. When Rasul ﷺ said that a person may pray 60 years and Allah will not accept his prayer because he might be perfecting the ruku' but not the sujood, or perfecting the sujood but not the ruku', what happens if the person is not perfecting nothing? Like if the person is perfecting half of it, salah will not be accepted. What if the person does not perfect nothing? That neither in the ruku' nor in the sujood, nothing really comes to, like they don't even know what rak'ah they are at. They will be moving their hands, their mind is all, all different places. Like how could this be an acceptable prayer? And that's what it leads us to say, that Islam teaches us to perfect things. And when you are able to perfect something that you do 5 times a day, then you must be able to perfect anything else. That perfection is actually one of the great things that Islam teaches us. And as perfecting salah is just the best example of that. Okay, and by the way, if you have a question or if you want to add something, please stop me. Okay, so the next one is a hadith in which Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was staying in a place, and a Sahabi by the name of Abu Umama came to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Abu Umama said, Ya Rasulullah, murni bi amrin anqati'u bihi. Command me with something that I will take it and just execute it and do it. So just give me something. Like he is ready to take any order from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, "A'lam annaka la tasjudu lillahi sajda illa rafa'aka Allah biha daraja wa hatta anka biha khati'ah." Be aware that there is not a single time that you go for sujood, that you prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will elevate your rank 1 degree, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will wipe out 1 sin of you. This hadith tells anyone who is like making the sujood, not only that they are so much connected to Allah, but they are actually elevating in their ranks. And that actually gives you honor. That gives you confidence in yourself, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you something that is really precious, and it is becoming unique to you. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevates your rank, you become so precious in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And who else could you even dare to have the love and the honor other than from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Any question? Yes, Habib.
What about the arms? Some people say these are natural in the salah when the arms are showing.
Exposing the arm. So the nahi is if you expose your shoulder. Exposing the shoulder is not permissible. But even though it's not awra, but exposing the shoulder is not permissible. So those who wear, this tiny, what do you call this? Like those who play bodybuilding, they do it because they want to show their muscles. So you cannot play with those. But if it is covering this, inshallah, it's fine. Now, is it makruh or not? Well, makruh in the sense that you probably want to beautify yourself more, But it's not like makruh because the Rasul ﷺ said, cover your arm. I don't know that there's anything about this. What I know is that wearing a shirt that goes all the way, to the hand, will be more, I would say, like it's like just like how people say you will be dressed up, right? So dressing up for your prayer is better. But does that mean that if you don't dress up and you make it until this, does that make your salah makruh? I don't know that this is true. So your salat is fine, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Okay. Next one is another hadith where Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, أقيموا الصفوف فإنما تصفون كصفوف الملائكة. Straighten your lines because you are making lines like that of the angels. حاذوا بين المناكب وسدوا الخلل ولا تذروا فرجات للشيطان ومن وصل صفا وصله الله. حاذوا بين المناكب. This is something that we always have a problem with. Ali, تعال. Can you show me how you do حاذوا بين المناكب? Let's assume this is the qibla. Stand here. Yalla. Where's your mankib? You don't know where your mankib is? Okay, this is your mankib. The shoulders are called manakib. Here, this part here is called mankib. Okay, so حاذوا بين المناكب means a line or between the two shoulders. So if I do like this, we're not aligned. And okay, so here is the thing. People always worry about what? That the two feet will be touching like this, right? That's what people worry about. And this is exactly the opposite of sunnah. In the sunnah, what you really need to worry about is actually alignment. Alignment means that you are very straight, like horizontally speaking, like that I'm not going a little bit ahead or a little bit behind. We are actually straight to the extent if you look at us from the back and you make like a stick, that it will be just a straight line, right? For all the people who are in the line. That's the most important thing. And then after that, stay, stand. So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, حاذوا بين المناكب وسدوا الخلل. سدوا الخلل means shorten the gap. So if stand still. So if I do like this, there's this khalal. This is the gap, right? So he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, shorten the gap. Suddul khalal. And what defines this khalal, like whether or not I shorten the gap, is actually touching with the arm. So can you see? Okay, if the arms are touching, that's it. That's all what you need. That is what shortened the gap. So if I stand naturally, not like this, holding my feet just close to each other, and not doing an exercise like gymnastic, if I stand really, and I'm sorry, wallahi, I have to say this because it's one of the most frequent issue that we see, not only in this masjid, everywhere. Like people, unfortunately, go into two extreme. Either they show that, like as if, subhanAllah, they see some dirt on the neighbor, or they are like, okay. And then the Rasul ﷺ said, وَمَنْ وَصَلَ صَفًّا وَصَلَهُ اللَّهُ, and whoever connects a line, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will connect with him. So those are things that the Rasul ﷺ have mentioned to us. Now let's hear this next hadith. The next hadith says, خِيَارُكُمْ أَلْيَنُكُمْ مَنَاكِبًا فِي الصَّلَاةِ, that the best among you are those who can smoothen their standing, or they can change or align themselves to others with their shoulders. In other words, that they will not be showing the thing that I just showed you, where like you know, astaghfirullah, I don't want to be next to him, or like jumping on the other guy. That the one who shows a smooth move to their shoulders so that they will be aligned on a straight line, those are the best in the prayer. And then he said, وما من خطوة أعظم أجرا من خطوة مشاها رجل إلى فرجة في الصف فسدها. When you stand waiting for the prayer and you see that there is a gap between people enough for you to fit in, that's the best thing you do. By the way, I always see this as a problem, not only here but everywhere, that people come late, right? And there are people in the first row, second row, and third row, and they are all waiting for Salah. And for some reason, this person chooses to go to the fifth row, even though the fourth row is still empty, and they will pray their Sunnah, and they will stay there. Like, do you have a lot of hasanat that you don't want to get the reward of being in the first row? Is that what you think? Like, really, are you giving up the opportunity to come closer to the Imam and be in the first row? Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam told us that the best of the lines are the closest to the Imam, like the earlier ones, right? And even within the line, the closer to the Imam, the better your position is. And unfortunately, people, I don't know, I mean, is it that they are not really interested in the reward? Like they come and they see that there are multiple opportunities for them, and they choose to go far and behind. I still remember when I first came here to pray in this masjid, wallahi, unfortunately, they used to ask their sisters to go and pray in that other room. They used to call it pink room. And that pink room in its whole thing, it's very problematic in my mind. Like, why should we call it pink room? Are you calling it pink room because of ladies? It just, anyways. And then for the brothers' side, they used to take chairs and take them all the way to the back. And the Imam will start the prayer, and there is one line here and another line all the way to the back. And I asked them, why do you pray in the back when, mashallah, you can come close? They said, because we have to sit on the chair. Okay, so what? If you sit on the chair, you can take the chair and bring it to the second row or to the first row if you have a space. What makes you take it all the way there? And subhanAllah, I just don't hear any answer. And sometimes even in the same line, it seems that sometimes the line is not yet complete, but it seems that on this one side, for example, there's a brother who is standing here, and a person comes late and he doesn't like to stand next to this brother, so he will start a next line, a second line. And this happens a lot. And the thing here is when the Rasul ﷺ said that the best among you are those who can, change themselves to a way that they can align their lines. You know what that tells us? It tells us how close we are to each other, even from a body standpoint. In other words, I mean, those people who don't like to touch others because they feel that others have dirt on them, wal-'iyadhu billah. And those people who want to just hit or sit or stand on the feet of their neighbors are also just harming others. But those who really stand very nicely and comfortably next to each other, and they make sure that they always shorten the gap and they align themselves, what does that tell you other than love and peace and harmony between the people who are praying together? And that thing actually happens between people of various different backgrounds, of various different status, of various different positions, of various different level of richness. accomplishments, of degrees, they all stand together. They are always on the same line. They shorten the gap. They feel they are very flexible to move together and stand close to each other enough that their arms are touching and not too much that they may hurt each another. When you see such a thing, that actually what makes this harmony get instilled in the heart of the believers who come to the prayer. And wallahi, when people think about it very carefully, when you stand like this and you feel so comfortable that this brother Ahmed and this brother Abdullah are on your two sides, once the prayer is over, you feel, Ya Allah, what a blessing and what a bounty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me this opportunity to pray between two brothers that I love. That's actually one part of the great things that comes in the prayer, that it builds this harmony, it builds this strong and close feeling between the different individuals who come to the prayer, regardless of their background, regardless of their positions, regardless of anything that people may count. Yes?
Thank you. So like last year we had the COVID-19, it was an emergency. So there was much gaps between the prayers and the members. So how do you consider that one?
Yeah, the ulama have talked about this, that it is darura, it's emergency, right? And darura, as the ulama have said, it has its own ruling. And we may have to do things that are not otherwise permissible just because of the necessity. It's just like someone is shocking and all what he finds in front of him is, say, haram drink. It is permissible to drink a little bit so that it facilitates the breathing, right? Or someone who is starving to death, and all what he finds is haram meat, for example. It is permissible to take a little that makes them stay alive. So during COVID, this was a necessity. And we had only two options, either pray at home or come, but make that separation. So of course, making that separation is the easiest and less harmful option. Yes? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Okay. If you are like an athlete, you're playing like soccer, we see like these soccer players who are Muslims, when they score a goal, they make a sujood. And if you are in that kind of attire, like a basketball player or a soccer player, can you pray in that kind of situation? Like it's time to go for the game, but now the salat is here, and you want to make your salat before you start playing. Is that permissible while you are wearing the, like the soccer jersey or the basketball jersey? Can you pray?
So you asked about if it is permissible for a person to pray while dressing those uniforms for basketball or
what basketball
else?
Because
Is this uniform exposing aura or not?
Well, where does the aura start?
The aura starts from the belly button to the knee.
Okay.
So if it is exposing anything in between, then that is exposing aura.
Okay, but you just mentioned that, you said, it's more of how to have your sleeve all the way here.
Sure.
Like
So I was talking about what makes it perfect in your prayer and how you can beautify yourself to the best level in front of your Lord. I think you're asking about some specific special situation where someone, like say, for example, one player who has no option but to do it and he needs to play. So is his prayer permissible? Is his prayer acceptable or not? And the answer for here is that this uniform dress for basketball is not suitable for prayer. However, if it is not exposing aura, if it covers the aura, then the prayer is valid, but of course it is not, it is not in the best shape. It is makruh to pray that way. You see the point? So for example, you are in Umrah. You know Umrah, right?
Right.
In Umrah, you have those two pieces, right? The one that covers the lower part and then the upper part. So some brothers, while they are praying, they just take it out and they throw it, like the upper one, and they only keep the lower one. Is their salah acceptable? We say yes, it is acceptable. Is that permissible? Is that good? No, it's not good. Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if you pray, do not expose your shoulder. Did I make it clear?
No, okay.
Okay. But then you did ask about making sujood when someone makes a goal, right?
Score a goal, yes.
Is this permissible? Huh? Like, let's say, are you a fan of soccer ball? Anyone fan here?
Yeah.
You are? Okay. So let's say you are a fan of soccer ball, and then you see your dream, a player scoring a goal. Would you do sujood shukr? Now I'm asking seriously, this is a religious question. Is it permissible to do sujood shukr? You know that sujood that you do when you're thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Huh? Yes, no, yes. So you see that many people are doing it, right? Like Muhammad Salah, isn't that? Muhammad Salah, he does it sometimes. And I think when Morocco has played in the World Cup, I saw many people showing this, that they are making sujood, right? So I think, wallahu alam, that reflects how much they love Allah and the Messenger. And I believe that they are trying to show how much they respect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they are thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So their intention is good. But the question is that the right thing to do or not? And we have to understand that the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam played some games with the Sahaba. Like, for example, he used to go in a run game with his wife Aisha, right? They were competing with each other. Sometimes he will win, sometimes she would win. And it was never reported that when he won, would he make sujood shukr. Nor when she would win, that she would make sujood shukr. They played multiple games. One of the games that they used to play, by the way, you know the skin of watermelon? You know that? They used to cut it into small pieces and then they throw it on the other, like they create two groups and they throw it on each other, and if it hits, then you score one. so they used to do this in the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But small pieces, not large ones, so that it doesn't hurt. Okay. So, but even in that time, those who would win will not do sujood al-shukr. Sujood al-shukr happens when you have a bounty that you attribute to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, for example, getting a new baby, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you a new provision, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enables you to go to a dream job or dream education, something that really is useful and beneficial in this dunya and the hereafter. But scoring a goal, I don't know how this is beneficial. Like, yeah, I like it, I love it. I feel like alhamdulillah, it's better that a Muslim does it than anyone else. But that's not really a bounty. Like, there's nothing really, the bounty is when we are able to spread Islam. The bounty is when we see a new Muslim coming here and saying his shahada. That's when you can make sujood al-shukr. But not really when you get a soccer ball goal. Okay, so next one is actually when we pray to the Qibla, or when we face the Qibla, that actually, you know that it is one of the conditions for your prayer to be accepted is that you face Qibla, right? And there's no way your salah is acceptable if you don't face Qibla, right? Right? So when you have to face Qibla, by the way, I travel a lot, and I always face this issue, where should I be facing during my prayer? And you know those, what do we call them? The compasses on your iPhone or your devices. If you go to within the airport, for example, or within a building, they don't really work well all the time because maybe there's some magnetic impact. So you have to get out of the building and find out where the Qibla is. And of course, you need to know the degree of where to know where the Qibla is. And this has been always a problematic for me when I do travel. But the thing that really I realize is that the fact that I have to find where my right direction is, it really teaches us something that we perhaps take for granted, which is for every work, for everything that we do in our life, we need to really determine which direction we're moving. Like, why would you apply, for example, for a master's degree versus, go and find a job? This is the direction that you make, right? Salah and facing the Qibla in your Salah teaches us that you have to determine where your direction is so that you become more successful, so that you get the best out of it. And that direction is actually something that we most of the time miss. Like, people go with no direction. You know what makes people decide on something? It's more of the influence of the people around them. Like, there are people who may set aside anything good and just do something harmful because of the peer pressure around them. And that actually, I mean, for those people, they don't realize the importance of facing the Qibla and knowing which direction you should go in your life. That's actually what facing the Qibla, and that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, وَأَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ فَوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ شَطْرًا. Wherever you are, you should face the Qibla. And by the way, the ulama have said, were asked a question, like a person went on travel and he prayed to a direction other than the Qibla. And then they realized that the direction was wrong. Do they have to repeat their salah or not? Let's see. What do you think? Huh? Did you say no? Okay. Any other question? If the salah time is out, no. Any other answer? They have to do it. Any other answer? They have to repeat. Any other answer? It's actually none of these. The answer is it depends. If the person has made every effort to know where the Qibla is and yet misses the Qibla, then he is forgiven. The person is forgiven. But if the person says, okay, where's the Qibla? I don't know, okay, let me pray this way. And he prayed, and then after he finishes, the person says, Akhi, this is the opposite of the Qibla, then he must redo his prayer. Even if the time of the prayer is out. Regardless, he must redo his prayer. Because he did not do every possible effort to know where the Qibla is. So that's very important, and that actually re-emphasized what I was trying to say, that we have, in all our life, we must really understand what direction we should go. Because if you don't know your direction, you will be losing. You will be losing your salah if you don't do the right direction on Qibla, and you will be losing in this dunya as well. Okay, so I think we need to stop here, but I will just say one last thing. And then inshallah we can take, by the way, I do plan to work on Salah and the rulings of Salah and the fiqh rulings of Salah and really better understand what Salah really means to us other than just it's a movement and rituals. Hopefully inshallah in a month from now. But I want to just give you this one hadith. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu narrated that a man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he said, "Ya Rasulullah, hadithni hadithan waj'alhu mujazan." Ya Rasulullah, tell me something and make it very short. So this person wants a short nasiha, right? He sallallahu said, "Salli salata muwadda'. صلي صلاة مودع كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك." He said, pray as if this is your last prayer, as if you are making a farewell to this whole life, as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in front of you and you see Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you don't see Him, always be aware that Allah sees you. That's his advice. His short advice: when you pray, pray as if this was your last prayer. And I think I do think a lot about many of the people that we have heard about, especially in the recent time, who were executed because of their good work towards religion. Executed by the dictators. And I still remember that like in one case of one of the ulama, he was executed, and before his execution, they asked him, "What do you want to do?" He said, I wanted to just do a prayer. He was copying a Sahabi. You know the Sahabi, I think, forgot the name, but one of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu, similarly, was challenged by the mushrikeen, and they said to him, "We will execute you, but we can offer you to give you one last ask. So what do you want to ask? What do you want to request?" And he said, "Give me some time to do prayer." So they said, "That's fair, we'll let you do your prayer." He did his prayer, and he perfected to the extent that if you see him, you say, "I bear witness, this is a prayer of a person of Ahl al-Jannah." And subhanAllah, when he finished, he said, "Wallahi, had it not been that I was worried that they would say he is scared of death, I would have stayed in my sujood as long as my life. Like I would never get out of my prayer." And subhanAllah, just imagine you are given just one last thing to do in your life, and you say it's your prayer, how much you would perfect it. Rasulullah is saying, this man, if you want a short nasiha, make every prayer of yours as if it were your last prayer. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of us. Jazakum Allahu khairan wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam. I'll take 5 minutes questions and we'll finish inshallah. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salam.
Can you speak on people that praise Allah the way they see fit, as opposed to the way Allah legislated His worship?
Could you give example?
Yeah, for example, some people that dance around and give praises to the Prophet during their worship. Example like that.
So, you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in the Quran in Surah Al-Kahf, فَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا وَلَا يُشْرِكْ بِعِبَادَةِ رَبِّهِ أَحَدًا. Whoever wants to meet with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah is pleased with him, let him do righteous good deeds. And righteous good deeds means nothing but following the Prophet. Because Allah said also in the Quran, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهِ. If you truly love Allah, then follow Prophet Muhammad so that Allah would love you. So for anyone who will do things on their own, even though to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though this does not match what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, they are innovating in this religion and their ibadah is not accepted. Yeah. Any other questions? Sister side, can you bring the mic to the sisters if they don't have one? Okay. Any other question while we are waiting for the sister? Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaykum salam.
So, some of us in school, we have uniforms, and sometimes we have accidents and we get a little bit of blood on our shirts. And can we pray with the blood on our shirts? Because we don't have a change of uniform.
Can we pray with what on the shirt?
Like,
Blood, blood, okay. So blood, if it is like a very little tiny quantity, then most of the ulama have said it's fine. But if it is like an amount of blood, then the vast majority of ulama, not all, but the vast majority of ulama have said it is najis. So it's impure, so you have to clean it, you have to wash it. Yeah. But if it is just a tiny thing, then it's fine. And the evidence of this is that during the Sahaba time, they used to bleed sometimes on their travel, and it was never reported that he ﷺ would ask them to clean it. You know, to clean when there's a little bleeding. Yeah. Yeah, any question from the sister side? Umar, روح لعند أعطيه ما مشكلة. You can walk backwards and see and make sure.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salam. Louder, please, sister.
Okay. My question is, when you're teaching children to pray salah, well, do you have any advice? Because when I'm teaching my children, I feel like I'm breaking my salah sometimes trying to correct them. So is it best to teach them and then do salah again?
Allah yazzik al khair. I think that's exactly what I used to do. I would have to pray multiple times because one time is for each of the kids. And sometimes I have to break from my salah in order to correct the kids on their prayers. However, my advice is that, I did use it sometimes, that you record the prayer in the video, and after the salah is over, you show them how they prayed, and you tell them like how to fix things. And this way your salah is valid because you haven't changed, you haven't moved. And then after the salah is over, you can show them what exactly the mistake were. But otherwise, if this doesn't work and they don't like to be recorded, then I think you need to pray twice, or you need to let them pray first and then you pray afterwards, or vice versa. You pray first and then they pray after you. Any other question?
Yes, salam alaikum.
Alaykum salam.
I have a question. I want to go back to the...
Louder, please.
Okay, I want to go back to the beginning where you said that someone prayed for 60 years and it was not accepted. So I have an issue sometimes focusing because of certain environment. So I want you to say something about that.
Barakallah fiki. I'm so glad that you asked this question because sometimes when I say those things, I feel that, subhanAllah, I forget to explain the merit of it. So the merit of this hadith is really about those who intentionally, deliberately not doing their prayer properly. But those who are doing their best to perfect their prayer and yet they are not capable of doing so, they are forgiven. That's absolutely fine. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never take you accountable for something that you cannot do on yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. So you should be fine, inshallah, if it is out of your control, if it is out of your hand. But if someone is deliberately not paying attention to their prayer, that's when their prayer will be, in that risk of not being accepted. Yes, go ahead.
So some of us sometimes we have school, and so we're at school, right? And maybe or sometimes if you have after program or us pass. Do you take the time, do you stop what you're doing and take the time to pray, or do you wait till you get home or have time to do it?
And what is it that you are busy with? Is it classes, instruction time? Or is it that you are in the library or recess or something like that? You are in instruction time, and it is time for prayer. Okay, and is there remaining time before the next prayer, or you will be missing the prayer if you postpone it? You will be missing the prayer? Okay, so let me ask you, Habibi, if you are in your classroom, right, and you need to go to the washroom, to the bathroom, what do you do? You do? Are you sure? You must be kidding me. I cannot do that. You must be kidding me. If you have to go to the bathroom desperately, would you be waiting? I will stop the instructor. You will say, can I go to the bathroom, right? That's what we need to do with the prayer. When you come back? You ask them to repeat what they said. I don't think they will do that. I don't think they will do that. But I think, wallahu alam, you are excused. What I love about this country is that they would never stop you from doing what your religious needs require you to do. They will never. This is what is really great about America. This is one of the greatest things in America. Well, they have many other great things, but this is one of them. So I always tell people, don't be shy to say your needs. However, let's say that I have 2 hours till the next prayer, and my class will finish in 1 hour, so I have another 1 hour, so I'm fine, I can wait, I can finish that class, and then I have 1 hour to do my prayer, and that should be fine, inshallah. Okay, last question, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. The question is, I saw some kids and some adults when they're peeing in the restroom, so they don't care. So the key come back or placed on their clothes, it's get dirt, and with that they come to prayer and to the masjids. So I don't know if you put attention on that.
Yeah, jazakallah khair. So the question is, if someone is urinating in the bathroom and they are standing, there's a chance that this may come back and you know, they will get najasa on their clothes. And that's definitely true. And actually, it's not from the sunnah to urinate while standing. It's not from the sunnah. But if someone has to do it, and the person knows for sure that the najasa will not come back to their clothes, it is permissible, but it is not the best thing. It's makruh. So we always tell people and say, if you are able to just urinate properly while sitting, then inshallah it will be more pure, and of course you will leave the place more clean, inshallah, for other people to come and do it. So I have just one question here. I need to just take this and close. So the question is about, remember this hadith where it says that the best steps that you may do are the steps that you walk to close a gap in the line, right? This is only before the prayer starts, not during the prayer. Not during the prayer, because while you are in the prayer, you cannot move. Unless it is very tiny thing. Like for example, ta'al ya Ali barakallah fikum. So let's say, ta'al, come here, come. Yeah. So let's say we are here in this line, and let's say the Imam is there, and Ali had to go out and leave the prayer for whatever the reason, and the Imam is here. It's fine if it is just one single thing, that's fine. But if you want to walk, like have a walk, like tomorrow they will have a walk on the around the lake. If you want to have that and during the prayer, it nullifies the prayer. Yeah, so jazakumullahu khairan, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk, wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.